So I've been talking to this guy, right, for like a couple of weeks. It's super fresh. And when we first met, he told me like he works a lot. He's also in school. He's like, I really want to be intentional about getting to know you. I really want to take you out on dates, whatever. Cool, period. So we talk on the phone. We have like our phone conversations. We got FaceTime calls, all the things. And then he plans a date. So we go out to eat last weekend. And amazing date. Had a great time. Super chivalrous, super sweet, all the things. Checks in all throughout the week. He's like, hey, I've got a really big, he's working full time. He also is in a master's program. I guess it's an accelerated master's program, so he's doing all this studying and things, but he's been making time. So all this week he's like calling, checking in, doing all the things, prioritizing, period. So he had a test on Friday, right? So he's like, I'm going to hit you up about the weekend after this test and everything on Friday. Friday, he hits me up. He's like, I passed the test. Everything went good. I'm like, okay, cool, period. So I'm like, oh, yeah, it's Valentine's weekend. So he's for sure going to plan something for Valentine's Day, right? No. So Saturday comes around and I'm at work. I'm at the shop. And all day I'm like, I didn't really have a lot of plans. I was going to go see my nieces and nephews or whatever, but I was like, the evening is open, if in case he decides to go do something. So he calls me at work. I'm at work. And so I was like, we got to talk later. Calls me back. He's like, hey, yeah. And he's like leaving the grocery store. So I'm like, oh, okay, yeah. He's like, yeah, I went to Whole Foods about this, about that. We're going through all the things about, what he bought. We're having a whole other conversation about something completely different. And I'm like, he hasn't brought up Valentine's Day. Like, he hasn't said any happy Valentine's Day, nothing. So I'm just letting him talk, I'm like, I don't want to lead in anything in this conversation, so let me just listen to what he's talking about. So this man proceeds to ask me, or he mentions, he's like, hey, I was looking at the weather for next weekend. He was like, it's supposed to be nice. Well, it was supposed to be nice, but it's changed. I was going to ask you, did you want to go essentially like hiking a trail that's like close by? Because I told him I enjoy like outdoor walks and hiking, all the things. And that was something that we talked about doing together, like on our first date. And so I'm sitting here saying, you're about to ask me out on a date for next weekend and today's Valentine's Day, and you've not even acknowledged Valentine's Day, said happy Valentine's Day, planned a Valentine's, nothing, dropped off a flower, dropped off a cupcake, nothing?
Because you are not his Valentine's. He just met you. From what she's saying, they only been on one date. One! Which was like last week or some shit like that. And I ain't gonna lie, it sounds like homie was just trying to get some cheeks. But this is what happens when you entertain these lonely, single, desperate women. Here's the thing. What they do is this. Right before Valentine's Day, maybe a month or maybe a few weeks before, they try to find a dude who will be silly enough to make them their Valentines. So what they do is they will give that man their all. They're going to be on their best behavior, hoping that he will take them out on that day so they're not going to be home lonely and sad. So she thought that she found a sucker. But homie ain't going. He ain't going for that.
And he was like, what do you mean? I said, it's Valentine's Day. And you're asking about a date for next week.
Yeah.
Is it me? Am I the drama? So he was like, well, what do you mean? And I was like, you didn't even say happy Valentine's Day or nothing. So it's given like you're intentionally ignoring the fact that today's Valentine's Day, but you're still on my phone. Like, what are we doing? So he was like, well, everybody doesn't celebrate everything. And I said, oh, okay. I said, so you don't celebrate Valentine's Day? He was like, well, I grew up I grew up around Jehovah's Witness. And I said, oh, okay. I said, so you're a Jehovah's Witness. And do you know what he said? He said, no. And I said, oh, so you're not Jehovah's Witness? He was like, no, I'm not Jehovah's Witness. I said, so what are we talking? He's like, well, I grew.
This is what I'm saying, bro. Shorty, you was just single and lonely a few weeks ago. See, here's the thing, man. This is why single women will always be single. It's their mindset. She just met this guy and she's this entitled. Why? Because she is not used to even being a girlfriend, being a wife. So she really don't know how to act. So she's acting the way she thinks she's supposed to act. Just because she's talking to a guy, she expects him to take her out for Valentine's. Like what? You gotta put you gotta put your work in, man. Like you gotta earn your keep. You can't just expect me to make you my Valentine's just because you give me some cheeks. That shit takes time, man. That's a special day for your special someone. A woman gotta earn that. That's just the bottom line.
Around Jehovah's Witness, and I said, and he's like 40, he's about to be 40. So I'm like, so you mean to tell me that you haven't celebrated Valentine's Day from whenever you were around these Jehovah's Witness up until now because you grew up around them, but you're not Jehovah's Witness? And he was like, well, and I said, he was like, well, do you celebrate birthdays and everything? And I was like, yes, I celebrate everything all the time, very big, in a very big way. Like, I celebrate the things. And he was like, oh, okay. I said, and any girl that tells you that she doesn't want to celebrate the things, I don't believe her. I strongly believe that, you know, unless it's a religious reason or unless there's some trauma attached to it, most women want flowers just on a regular day, let alone Valentine's Day or, you know, something. I'm like, I understand that we're fresh and all the things. And I didn't say this to him, but in my mind, I'm conceptualizing. I'm like, it's very, very new. It's a couple weeks in. So even if you don't want to be forward or like setting too much expectation or whatever the case is, you either say that, you say, hey, I know we just started dating. I kind of feel like Valentine's Day is reserved for like exclusive relationships or whatever, or just go buy.
He ain't gotta say that. This is wild, bro. These single women needs to be more humble out here. This is so nutty. Man, a chick like this, I wouldn't even keep entertaining. I'll just leave her alone because she obviously don't know how to even be in a real relationship. You trying to force a man to make you his Valentine's just because you're lonely? This is crazy.
It takes nothing to spend $15 on some grocery store flowers and be like, hey, you know, I just wanted to, you know, get you a little something, whatever. But to be like intentionally on Valentine's Day asking me on a date for next weekend is insane. You are actively going out of your way to not have nothing to do on Valentine's Day and to like let me know you're still interested, but you don't want to make Valentine's Day significant. We're not doing that. We're not doing that. I was like, why are we talking about Jehovah's Witness if you're not Jehovah's Witness? And then he's like, oh well, I'm like, so did you celebrate before? And he's like, well, they weren't Jehovah's Witness. I'm like, and neither am I. I'm like, so the last person that you dated, like, you mean to tell me out of all these years, the last person you dated in your 30s, you didn't celebrate certain things? And he's like, well, she was actually Jehovah's Witness. No, she wasn't. No, she wasn't. She was not. And they don't even be dating people outside of their belief system. So, what look like? I said, you know what? So he hurried up, got a little uncomfortable, and was like, yo, oh, well, you know, well, and I said, you know, and I was driving as we were talking, and someone cut me over. So I was like, man, it's so many people out here. And I'm already amped up a little bit. So, like I said, it kind of, and he was like, well, you know, it's a big day. And I'm saying, the same big day you just said you don't celebrate, please, I'm done here. He's like, well, I gotta go. I'm gonna go study. You have a great study session, sir. God bless. I cannot stand dating. I'm done.
This shit is sad. And now she's about to hit the streets again and find another dude, jump in another situationship. You can't save a bird, fellas. It's just they thrive in the streets. Their mindset is for the streets. And this is why I always tell you guys, regardless of what, a bird always return back to the streets. Their lifestyle is designed to return back to the streets. She met a man that she could have a potential marriage with, right? She met a potential husband. And look how quick she blew it. All because she met him a week before Valentine's Day. She feels he should have bring her a gift, some flowers, even though he barely even knows her. But that's the mindset of a bird. They live life fast. They don't have any discipline. They don't know how to put in the work to earn anything. They always take shortcuts and they always return back to the streets. Fellas, be wise out here, man, for real. Yo, imagine him getting a hospital treatment to deal with, and the baby's coming out. Fellas, again, focus on yourself. That's what it is.